and it has a freaking procharger. I know we're supposed to talk about your seats, and he did all the seat in leather, but holy crap, look at this bike.
It adds over 50 horsepower to it.
I think this feels like butter, don't it?
It does, yeah.
And the reason it's like this, there's so many different qualities of Alligator, and that makes a huge price difference. I mean, this would be on a, this is a $20,000 Gucci purse.
You have often talked about ProPad, so I wanted to talk about this.
Okay, the ProPad is a man-made material.
What is going on, people? You know what? My boy Jason Dement reached out and he goes, do not pass Alligator Bob's place. He is north of Chicago on the way to Milwaukee. It wasn't nothing but a hop, a skip, and a jump to get here to come to Alligator Bob. And if you don't know who he is, he's renowned as one of, if not the best custom leather seat makers. This man only makes seats from exotic leathers, the highest quality. So let's get in there. Let's talk to this man. Let's look around his shop. You guys know how I do it. I just roll in. So without any more time wasted, let's go check this place out. All right. This is the man. This is the guy, one of the best. I mean, he might tell you he's the best, but one of the best. You do more than seats, but right now you're kind of focusing on like seats and leather and motorcycle stuff, right?
Yeah, been sewing for 43 years, but basically now for the last 25 years, it's 99% motorcycle seats, but a few things once in a while I get to dab in and try something different. But I just get so many motorcycle seats, and there's only a few of us here, so you can only do so many and keep it doing perfect. You know, you got to one at a time, one of a kind, as they say.
And if you look over his shoulder, it says, you know, exotic hides, and I see snake and alligator and stingray and shark and elephant, buffalo. What else did I miss? Any of them over there? I think
there's Java lizard. There's stingray.
Did you say lizard?
Yeah, I got Java lizard. They're not real little. Okay. They're like 1 foot or so, and they're in Florida now. They're not supposed to be, but they're in Florida now.
Yeah, are you raising them in Florida?
No, it's just something different. You can, whatever you want to make a skin out of, you know, a seat out of, as long as it's a piece of leather, you can do it.
Real quick, just because I don't know where I'm at, where are we at right now?
We're in northern Illinois. We are actually about 45 miles south of Milwaukee and about 50 miles north of Chicago. We're on the Illinois-Wisconsin border at the tip of Illinois, northern Illinois. What
is the address? We're in Lake Villa?
Lake Villa, Illinois.
There we go. We're in Lake Villa, Illinois. I'll put a little thing here, like, you know, one of them like really sexy pin drops, and then we'll come out and say like,
it's easy to get to. It's not far off the expressway, so people come here from all over, and I get people come from vacations.
Yeah. It was cool. It was easy to get here. But I want to look around your guys' shop. I know you talk a lot about ProPad. First of all, let's talk about this man right here. Who's this guy?
That's my dad, Larry Martin. He was a professional flat track racer. I was born in 1963, but before that, before I was born, my dad used to race flat track, and he was the #1 amateur in Wisconsin. And he raced there for many years in Wisconsin. He kept winning. Well, after you win for so many years, they don't let you stay amateur forever. So the Harley-Davidson people approached my dad and said, would you like to drive for Harley-Davidson? He said, well, what does that mean? How does that work? He said, well, to start out with, we'll hook you up with a dealer. And they hooked him up with Bob's Harley, who it was in Harvard, Illinois, who actually sold out to Woodstock Harley. And Bob was the mechanic, and my dad was the racing guy. And they got along, and Bob was a super good mechanic, and he actually was doing stuff that was faster than the Harley mechanics that worked for Harley-Davidson. The coolest thing about that is Bob would close his shop down in Harvard on Mondays, and him and his wife, there's only 2 people shop, him and his wife would go to Milwaukee and pick up all their parts. Well, when they did that, they're walking by Willie G's office, all these big executives' offices, and they said, hey, how come you and Larry, what are you guys doing? How come you're winning? You got to show my guys what the hell you're doing. So they were asking him questions on how do you make the bikes go so fast, and my dad and him did really good.
So you were born with this whole motorcycle. What age were you when you started riding?
5 years old when I started riding. I just turned 60. So I've been riding since I was 5.
Yeah.
I kind of live and breathe motorcycles now.
Well, What a great story. I mean, to have your dad's like, he's a local legend for sure. And,
Yep.
and then to be able to surround himself, you know, and I could imagine the stories he told you growing up.
He was on Psycho World magazine many a times and in it Psycho World. This picture here is very interesting. When I was a kid, he's telling me all these stories. I'm like, what are you talking about, Dad? What is this all about? This right here is my dad with Walter Davison. That's Willie G's grandfather. So it's second generation of Harley Davidson. They invited my dad and Bob to come out to the road race in Laconia, New Hampshire, which was like a Road America road race. My dad didn't really road race, he did flat track. They said, Larry, this is going to be a 50-mile road race, but we want the flat track guys to come so we can have some more bikes. So he said, okay, I'll come. So him and Bob took out there and went out there. And when my dad did the time trials, he actually beat everybody. He beat the professional guys. And this guy walked over to my dad. He said, Mr. Martin, do you know who I am? And my dad says, yes, sir, I know who you are. It's like the head of Harley. Everybody knew who this guy was. So he said, I want you to race for Harley Davidson tomorrow. He says, well, what do you mean? How's that? I'm kind of already racing for, no, professional. He said, we're going to give you a professional nameplate now on the front of your bike and get rid of the G from Wisconsin. And you're going to race professional. He says, because you beat everybody's time trial. You beat my 5 guys that I have racing for Harley. They all crashed, and my dad won the time trials. He set a track record. So he said, all right, well, what's going to happen? He says, we're going to helicopter you a motor from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to where he was in Laconia, New Hampshire, and my dad and Bob put the bike together in a hotel room. My dad won by 6 inches.
Wow.
Larry Martin, Kenosha, Wisconsin, wins to turn professional within 6 inches and kept Harley in the #1 nameplate. Otherwise, Triumph or BSA or Norton was going to win. So and then he was on Psycho World magazine, and he was telling me all this when I was a kid. And if you walk in here, we had these matching little bikes. These are Harley Shortsters. Harley Shortsters. I had these bikes when I was a kid, 65cc and a 90cc. People said, did you make those? I said, no, they made these in like 72 through 76. Harley Davidson and Aramacci got together. Aramacci is Italy. And they put these bikes together, and they made these little ones to compete. This used to compete with Hondas, little Hondas.
Yeah.
And I had Harley when I was a kid, so I've always had bikes. And we get to do jobs from all over the world. People ship us seats, and I get to talk to people from all over. It's very interesting.
Yeah, you were telling me kind of a fun story earlier that you did some stuff for King, right?
Well, I could show you that too.
Yeah, show me. I want to see what a king wants.
Well, this is actually the Prime Minister of Lebanon, $250,000 Indian. They said they sold it for $250,000. It's an Indian before the Polaris Indians. It's a 2010 vintage Indian chief for the former Prime Minister of Lebanon. 2 years a gunsmith worked on it, engraved every piece of chrome on the bike, so everything is engraved with Indian theme. I recovered the seat and did my own design to it. That's exotic brindle cow. I hand-picked out a cow and cut the center piece out of it so it looks like a brindle. Right down the center of it is the brindle part of it. And then we used Italian leather, 3 or 4 different colors. It's all kangaroo hand-laced. These are real bear claws on it that we put on it. Jeez. And it's got a real spearhead that was dug out of the ground and real arrowheads. And we did this whole thing up and sent it out to. There was a shop in Iowa called Fat Baggers, who's still out there now. They made the bike. We made the seat. They liked the seat so much they repainted the top of the fender to go with my seat.
Wow.
And then after this one, we made 3 for the Prime Minister of Lebanon. Then they called us up and says, hey, now you're making one for the King of Saudi Arabia. I said, what? They said, yeah, the King of Saudi Arabia. Well, I looked him up online. The guy's like 80 years old. And I said, sir, is he going to ride? They said, no, but the Prime Minister is going to give it to the King, and the King's going to give it to one of his kids who's like 50, and then he's going to ride. So I said, well, what does this guy want? He wants it white and green, and they had all the logos of Lebanon, where he was from, on the tank out of gold. Real
Wow.
gold on the gas tank, gold spinners on the wheels. And I had to take an Alligator. He wanted me to paint it money green. I said, what do you mean? He goes, no, don't dye it. I want it painted. So we had to ship it back and forth to the painter, and it took us like 6 months to figure out how to put the paint on the Alligator so it would stay. And it was the same color, metallic, as the bike was painted.
Wow. Here's an example of alligator.
That's hornback alligator.
Is this the same one that you used for the green or no? Or a different kind of?
No, the other one was
hornback?
belly. I used the belly of the alligators, either hornback or belly.
Okay.
This is a hornback alligator, and then this is kangaroo hand lacing. This hand lacing takes 3 to 4 hours to do 1 foot. 18 feet of kangaroo skin, and then around it is all full quill ostrich.
Oh, right here.
So this seat is totally exotic. Plus, you see how the dish to it? We dished the foam out to let him sit into it and gave him a pro pad. So now he's like 2 inches, almost 2 inches lower, but 2 inches more back support. So you get locked into it, you don't slide, and then there's a matching passenger seat and then a backrest.
Wow.
But these are the real skins. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
The hard part of my stuff is finding the quality skins.
Okay. And then you were talking about Pro Pad. You have often talked about Pro Pad, so I wanted to talk about this.
Okay, the Pro Pad is a man-made material that soaks up vibration, takes away your pressure points, and you don't get a numb butt. So we take the stock seat. You can modify the foam a little bit, move you back a little bit, make it a little lower, and then once you get it the way you want it, then we router the foam out. It takes about 4 hours to router the foam out and put this pad into it. So where your butt sits, your back, and your legs is all a Pro Pad, so you don't wear out the foam. It keeps the foam from bottoming out, soaks the vibration, and distributes your weight. Then if you have a bad tailbone, you can have a hole into it, and then we put soft foam in it and put the leather over it. So where your butt sits, there's no pressure on your tailbone.
And then this is soft.
Super
foam
soft,
here.
yep.
Yeah, hopefully it's durable. I'm about to throw it. And then you were telling me about this.
This is a seat I did about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
A
10
customer
years.
brought it back because he sold his bike and it won't fit anything else that he has. This is a waterproof buffalo hide. I have American bison that's tanned in Italy that they waterproof it. They make some high-end shoes, and I got it hooked up with this tannery, and they says, "Oh, Bob, you want to use this because it's the top of the line." But 15, 20 years down the road, this looks the same. Honest to God, you could beat the crap out of it. It's still good.
I mean, I'm looking at it here, and you.
Now, this is an ostrich print. 99% of the time I do the real exotics, but sometimes people don't realize that real exotics could be thousands of dollars just for the skin. So I have to have an alternative. So I use the real leather from Italy and Scotland, and then I also have some exotic prints that are leather. So I got ostrich leather, ostrich shark, ostrich elephant, leather elephant. It's just more economical, but still quality.
Right.
Most people use vinyl. This would be leather.
Okay.
This is all the real stuff. This is actually a Corbin seat that we recovered with Belly the alligator. This would be like a $40,000 purse. This is garment finished. It's like butter. And this seat's like 6 years old. Then the Italian leather, then full quill ostrich.
See, look at that. I've been here for 5 minutes. I'm starting to learn.
You already know.
I'm already starting to learn what I'm looking at.
Yeah, this guy bought this seat from Corbin because he liked the backrest, but he said, I want more exotic to it, so we recovered it all. This one is actually a Sportster seat that is a print. Here's another one that's a snakeskin print. Instead of using a real snake, this is a snakeskin print. They call it a black snakeskin with the buffalo hide. And I thought this looked neat to put the little black studs in it, give it a little different design.
Oh, yeah.
Then I sleeked down the back. He doesn't ride anybody. But same thing, added a couple inches of back support. This is your tooled and carved, hand carved.
So you guys did carve it in.
That's the only thing I don't actually do here. I have a carving artist that does that. He'll carve whatever you want. We call it a seat tattoo. This one is the whole top of the seat is carved. Sometimes it's just like this. It could be just an inlay. Like this is, the word Indian. This is just like the letter fonts from the tank. It's hand carved, painted, and clear coated. Then you inlay it into the seat. This was a saddlebag lid that we're doing. So you can do any kind of design that you want. And it's got like 6 coats of clear on it, so you can sit on it, nothing happens to it.
Right. And then, so this was also a recover. And
this was a seat
Challenger
that the
seat,
first
right?
seat that not Saddleman. This is a Mustang seat that they made for the new Challenger, and I got their shell and their pan, and then I designed the foam the way I want it with more back support, lower, and then this is all buffalo hide. So the same thing. This one gave you 3 inches of back support, and this guy didn't ride anybody, so we just thinned up the passenger. So it looks cool. This is an old one. This is 15 years old. The customer brought it back.
Wow.
That's shark and ostrich.
Real shark.
Real shark. Yep. This is cool too. This is handmade barbed wire, and that stays there forever. It doesn't break down. Each little piece has to be handmade to make that barbed wire.
Wow.
And Belly the alligator, and then full quill ostrich.
So then what do you make the bobbed wire out of?
The bobbed wire is made out of a closed cell foam that I have to Dremel tool down each little piece to make it bobbed wire. Then you have to glue it behind the leather and put it all together. It takes like 8 hours to sew the bobbed wire.
Hey, tell me a little bit about this. So this, you said, is for a chief, right?
Yeah, this is a recover job. A customer came in from Wisconsin, and he wanted to recover his chief seat because the tan seats fade so bad. So this is the waterproof buffalo hide, which only comes in black, but it will look the same 20 years down the road. What we did different on this one is we gave them Indian head coins with 2 studs, Indian head coins, and I also have the other one, which is the buffalo hide. So you can have the buffalo head or the Indian head to make them different. And then this one is nicotine elephant. It's a dark brown elephant. And the cool part about this is, as I was talking before about the pantining, when this pantines, these little lines are all going to come out lighter color tan. It looks so cool, like 4 years down the road. Can't do that now, but 4 years down the road, it's even going to look better. But now the customer will not fade. He will not get water in it. He's got pro pads. He's comfortable. Just for instance, the mud flaps here, they're made out of heavy carving leather, wrapped with the waterproof buffalo hide, and a piece of plastic in it. So when you wrap it around like this, it's rigid. It doesn't sag.
Yeah.
And the fringe, when I do fringe, it's hand-cut fringe. There's 2 rows of hand-cut fringe. There's 2 layers, like a 5-inch and a 6-inch. These are the floorboards.
I'm not a big fringe guy, but
it looks cool. Now, that guy didn't want it on the mud flaps or nothing, but he wanted it there. Now, these are floorboards that I start out with the stock Indian plastic shell. I have a $10,000 sewing machine to sew this. And then we make this little wall a little bit wider so we can put studs into it. So now this studs, the Indian head and the chrome, will go with his whole project. And it just pop rivets on. It's the stock thing from Indian. Well, it's an aftermarket from Indian, but from Indian.
Yeah.
Then also, I came up with this. We made this large dash.
Like a tank bib or
It's
something.
a tank bib, but this one is a big one. You have a big pocket on it, and it's adjustable like an accordion. So the customer can have this, and then the seat goes right up to it. You can have this one, or you can do the little one. I like this big one, and it just Velcros on the very top, which you don't see, and then you use your bottom hole that you've already got in the bike.
Yeah.
So this looks really cool on the bike, and then it goes right up to the dash. So it'll look like that on the bike. That's why it goes elephant to elephant. And then this is the passenger backrest. Then I redid the whole driver's backrest. It's got the flap on the back with the studs on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you can have as much elephant or as little as you want, or, elephant, that's just one example. It could be anything. It could be diamond pleats, whatever you want.
Right, right. Can be carbon fiber.
These are lids, too. These are cool. These are lids for a Challenger that I make lids that are Velcroed on. They just come on and off. You can still get at them, but it keeps it from chipping up and scratching. And this is an alligator print. As I was saying, some people don't want to spend the money on the real alligator.
Yeah, yeah.
This is real leather, but printed in Italy to look like alligator. I do what's called a French seaman, and this is the soft Italian leather. I have the buffalo and the soft.
Oh.
So it kind of goes with, even if you didn't do your seat, it kind of goes with the vinyl on the seat.
Yeah.
But this looks really cool, then you do a seat to match.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And actually, it could be even the new Chieftains.
Yeah, exactly. They're all the same nowadays. There's only two bags now.
Exactly. Oh, that's really cool. Let's see if there's anything in here we should look at. I mean, there's so much to look at. Oh, I know. I want to point out this freaking python.
I think it's 30 foot because I don't have the head or the tail.
Yeah, and so what you have is 25 feet, but like you said, you're missing the head and the tail.
Yeah, when I first started getting the skins, probably 20 years ago, I always wanted the biggest ones because they got that cool design, like that S design down the center of the snake.
Yeah.
You were saying, what's a lizard look like? That's a green lizard.
Oh.
See, they're not that small.
Oh, that's a big.
That could be an inlaid into the seat or a panel or under flames or.
Yeah. Here's an example of the inlay.
This is a tribal flame that we made as an inlay, and this is the python snake. It's the real python snake that I inlay under the leather, so you're not really sitting on the snake.
Because of the scales and stuff, it's a little bit fragile.
Yeah, that's the only product that I have that's a little bit more fragile, and I make lever covers out of it, or a dash for the pocket out of it.
Oh, yeah.
This one here is the nicotine elephant. This is called Mad Dog Brandy Ostrich, and then the cognac Italian leather.
Wow.
This is a Challenger dash. This is what I make for the Challenger, which is nice. Italian leather, so it doesn't scratch anything. It's soft, doesn't fade. And it just goes on with a plastic clip so it doesn't hurt anything. And then you can have a pocket or not a pocket. I like this pocket because it goes with the bag. See, this is a whole package for a Challenger.
Right.
Challenger dash could be plain or this, and then it goes with the bags. And everything comes on and off. If you take this off, it doesn't hurt your bike at all.
Right.
But people are saying they're scratching up the Challenger dashes, their tanks.
Yeah, like with their belts and stuff.
Yeah, this solves that problem. I sell a lot of them. That's something that I do. I did make a pattern for that. It's still one of a kind, but I reproduce the same thing over and over with different materials.
Yeah, right. Like whatever their choices are.
Yeah, normally I got to make everything from scratch. This is something I know fits, so we can change materials around and give you something different.
I mean, you have to streamline a little bit. This is a 20-year-old seat, right?
Yeah, that's my wife's Fat Boy, 2003 Fat Boy. That's real alligator inlaid under Italian leather, the kangaroo hand lacing, and the fanciest part is she's got real alligator all the way around the outside, too.
Oh, wow. Belly of the alligator.
Yeah, that's the belly of the alligator. That's her little show-off bar hopping seat.
Yeah, that's really cool. So this is elephant, right?
Yeah, the elephant is like 4 different colors there. Yep.
Holy. Is this like the average size? It'd just be like
no,
one?
I buy a bigger size. You buy chunks of it.
Okay. What is
black and gray. They're different parts of the elephant. They look different. The grain looks different.
Interesting. You ever get the ear?
You can get the ear and you get the trunk, but it's got big holes in it from the hair. Looks kind of funky.
Oh, yeah.
Show them the shark down there, too. The shark's cool. Not many people have shark.
What do we...
This is the shark.
Oh, yeah.
This is brown shark, black shark. It's called the soft shark. It's a thresher shark. This shark is really cool. I get it in a black, a medium brown, and then I get it in a dark brown, but it's real shark skin. It's real nice and soft. It's called a thresher shark.
It is really soft.
And up there is the stingray.
Is the stingray soft?
No,
like that? Not
it's not soft. No,
So
I mean it's soft to sit on, but it's a little stiffer than a regular leather.
Okay.
That's usually the inside of the seat. Then these are the ostrich, full quill ostrich, from South Africa. Then these are the calf skins. Then you got the belly of the alligator. And what's different on this stuff is this. I said this feels like butter, don't it?
It does, yeah.
And the reason it's like this, there's so many different qualities of alligator, and that makes a huge price difference. I mean, this would be on a, no bullshit, this is a $20,000 Gucci purse.
Yeah.
And the place that I buy this from sells it to Gucci.
Really?
So yeah, I get it from the same thing. If they make 200 for Gucci, I get the last 20.
Have you thought about buying a purse sewing machine?
Well, the wife wants me to sew it for. That's another subject we can't talk about. But yeah, these are the best ones. These are like butter. It's just so soft.
It is really
They
soft.
have to thin them out by hand to make. That's called a garment finish. Anybody in the world that knows exotics, the garment finish is the most expensive and it's the softest. That's what they make clothes out of. If they do high-end coats for movie stars and wallets and belts, that's the stuff they would use. And these are called hornback alligators, where they make the horn. And people don't realize this. When you do it, when you tan an alligator, they cut the belly open and they make the horns, or they cut the horns off and they make a belly. You don't get two out of it.
Oh, you can't just cut off
No,
the
see,
sides?
that's when I first started. I said, hey, how come I don't get two? Oh, no. See, because this wraps around and makes the belly. Oh. Otherwise, you don't get nothing there. So this is the belly cutting off the horns. And they sell this as like a strap for a belt or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Actually.
This is a cool gray one. They're all dyed, but this is a gray one. So we have gray ones, we got black ones, even have some cognac. But these are super hard to get. My next 10 or 12 I got coming in from Italy. They're actually in Paris right now.
That is really soft. And you could do, obviously we can see.
These are all the threads. I get threads from Germany. They're top of line so they don't fade.
You can do about any color, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, I have every color you can think of. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I stock leather in probably like 30 colors. And the leather from Italy. Mm-hmm. This is just some of it. And then these are the exotic prints I was talking about. This is the belly of the alligator print. It's real leather, but it's printed in Italy to look like the belly of the alligator, and it's very nice. It doesn't fade. It's soft. It breathes. You don't get a sweaty butt on it.
Yeah, it feels like it doesn't feel like pleather.
No, it's not. And then this is real nice one. This is sea turtle. You can't get real seal turtle. They will never let you have that, but they make a print out of it. I didn't even know what it looked like. I said, dude, this looks cool.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool.
Then they have shark print, and this is that snake print I was showing you. The black snake, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That looks really nice in like a Harley Davidson bag. You use this as the insert, you put on the end caps of the tour box.
This is probably the only one I've felt that feels like kind of plasticky.
It's just stiffer.
A little stiffer.
It's a little stiffer. That's how they have
like
to do it to make the grain.
Right, but to compare it to these other ones.
But when you sit on the leather breathes and you don't get a sweaty butt. That's the
true.
difference between vinyl and leather. People say, why do you want to use leather? It's more money. But because it's softer and it'll last longer, a little bit of care once in a while, a little rub, a little conditioner on it, 15, 20 years down the road, it looks the same. But you got to have the right quality leather. You got to have the stuff from Italy that has UV protection and rub resistant, which a lot of shops don't use. So because it's more money.
Yeah, but if they don't do that, then you end up fading.
You get fading, you get rubs, you get a leaking. The seams will leak if they don't seal them. So there's a lot of tricks that a lot of shops. You know, I'm not the only one in the world that does it this way, but I want to make every seat so it lasts. So I try to do everything the best way. And after 43 years of sewing, I think I figured it out. Yeah. And this is what works. And people come back and they get, it's my 6th bike you've made a seat for, the 7th bike. So I know I'm doing something right when they keep coming back.
Yeah, it's there's. Like, we went in another area of the shop, and there's like, this is a 15-year-old seat. This is a 20-year-old seat. And it's like, we even did the math wrong. It was like, that's 2003. That's 10 years. And I'm like, nope, that's 20.
20 years, yeah.
Oh, man. Cool. That is so cool. Do you put like people's names and stuff in it? Do you ever do stuff like that?
Anything they want. I call that a seat tattoo. I came up with the name calling it a seat tattoo. You can put anything. That's shark skin. That's a dash for a soft tail. It's a shark skin.
Okay.
These are the hand carving before it's painted. It has to be drawn, carved, painted, and clear coated. And there's like 6 coats to make this silver. That's the next thing. A lot of people that do this put 1 layer on it, and you see the tan, the natural leather through it. Not my guy. My guy puts Slick Bald Customs. That's the guy that I do for my carving with. He teaches tooling and carving for a living. He goes around the world. I can't believe I got him helping me, but I talked to him and he liked what I do, and he said, if you don't drown me with this stuff, I'll do this for you. And he's like top of line. I've been doing this 43 years. He's been doing it for like 40. But in his world, there's only so many people that do tooling and carving that really do it the right way. So he teaches it. He'd come out to his shop in Colorado and he teaches you how to tool, how to carve, and how to sew. He builds horse saddles, gun holsters. That's what he does. So he does my carving. I can't spend 100 hours carving and 100 hours making a seat. I don't have the time.
Right.
Like this project here, this is like 6 months worth of work. This has got real horsehair on it, kangaroo hand lacing.
Yeah, so this is real horsehair?
Real horsehair. Yep.
Does that like go bad, or
no, it doesn't go bad. It twists a little bit when you drive a little bit, but he got.
So you got to comb it, like.
You got to comb it once in a while. It's a high maintenance thing, but it looks cool. This gentleman came in. He said, "I got a whole setup I want you to make out of this tan cognac brown." Then he says, "I want to do the whole thing in black." I did 2 setups for this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my dad a long time ago. Rode America, playing with a little bike.
Too cool.
This is one of my buddies who's in the Harley Davidson Museum. This is a friend Glenn. He won the Harley Davidson Award, which they've only given out 18 times with this bike. I did all the leather on it. It was in the museum for 6 months.
Wow.
I just finished that Roadmaster. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a local guy. That's real brass studs and everything, and you can't see it, but there's hand carvings in there that got 2 of the Indian words in it.
Okay.
Just to make them different.
Yeah. I saw you have things. This is real bone.
Yeah, now that's something else that when I do, this is called a fender bib that I make for the Indian chiefs. It would fit on a Roadmaster too. The light holds it on here, and then I got Velcro under here, so it doesn't hurt anything. But these are stainless steel wired on like jewelry. Most shops use fishing line. I use stainless steel, and when I use these beads, it's silver beads or glass beads, so they last. You know, when I first started, everybody's using plastic. I said, I don't want to use plastic. What's it going to look like 5 years on the road?
Yeah.
So I'm using real beads, and you can hand dye them, or I get them dyed. You have turquoise and all these other colors. So when I do something like this, I have like 6 colors of bone, or I dye it. And then over here, I have all these handmade conchos. These are conchos that I have handmade. So if you want something for your Indian, I got all these Indian-themed ones. Bear paw, Indian head, another Indian head, turquoise, black onyx, red coral. These are conchos, so it completes the bike, so it looks different. So if you look at the concho on this seat, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually made by Montana Silversmith. It makes high-end horse saddles. They stopped making them now, but that's got a clear coat on it, never tarnishes.
Wow.
And then with the buffalo nickels on it and the Indian head dimes, it's just different than everybody. If you're going to make it, I said, let's make it different.
Right.
So you don't get normal conchos. Normally it's a $5 concho. Maybe this is a $20 concho, but it's something that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think you're doing it different, man. That I will say. You definitely are doing it different. And when you said exotics, and you're like, oh yeah, we got all these exotics. You have all those exotics.
I have a lot.
Exactly.
You got to get it while you can. That's the hardest thing, is finding the exotics. Because to get the quality that you want, I can get the orders and do the jobs, but I can't always get the material. So I have brokers, to be honest with you, they're all over the world getting the exotics, and that's how you have to do it to get the good quality.
Right. He was telling me this really cool thing, and I want to point it out. And it's kind of the show of how he goes maybe like above, right? Or above and beyond like most of the other people. And it was diamond stitching. And I'll tell you, and he can correct me when I'm wrong, because I usually get something wrong. So you diamond stitch this, and he uses really pluffy, I call it
high density foam.
High density, I call it like poofy, but whatever. High density. And then what happens is when you have this, and you have to take a sealant, essentially.
We seal all the needle holes so the water doesn't come through it.
And it sounds easy, and then you hear him say that he has to literally take a paintbrush and put it on there. And so all you guys out there that have like diamond stitching or something like that, and all of a sudden you get that wet seat, it's because they skipped that step.
Because
right?
it does take like an hour to do the seat, and a lot of places don't want to spend the money on the high dollar stuff to do it, and it takes another hour to do it, but then you don't get a wet butt.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
So I thought that was interesting. Here's another interesting thing. He has a trike in here, and it has a freaking procharger. I know we're supposed to talk about your seats, and he did all the seat in leather, but holy crap, look at this bike.
It adds over 50 horsepower to it. He's got clear covers, and this one has a Baker 7-speed. And show them the custom brake.
Yeah, and then check out this brake. Check out this brake.
It's a floorboard brake.
You literally just toe down. Let's see if I can get on. Pretty cool, but to talk about the bike, all the leather work you did, including backrest.
Italian leather, and I made.
Is this belly of the alligator?
This is another one that's a print.
Okay.
Because I couldn't get alligator this big, so I had to use a print.
Oh, it feels
so it's
pretty,
just.
it kind of feels like it has a texture
it's the
to
look
it.
of it. But
Well,
this
even
one,
has a texture though.
it has a texture to it.
Yeah, I thought
but it
that.
has a look to it, and then I did this because my buddy has this fancy paint job, and he took it out for the first ride, and when you turn the front tire, it throws rocks at your fender. And he says, Bob, God, it's $800 to fix this every time he goes riding. I said, let me make you these wheel well covers, and after I made his, Harley does make them, but they make vinyl ones, and they don't look really good. So I made mine real leather, and it's backed with suede under it, so nothing hurts it. I even put a little chrome leather on the edge of it. So you got...
Did you say chrome leather?
Yep, I have chrome leather. Look at that.
What the heck?
Chrome leather, alligator print from Italy, and then the Italian leather. And this bike is a 2013.
Wow.
Then I did the speakers to match.
Oh yeah, you sure did.
Everything. I did all that in the speakers. That's some of the OCC bikes we did.
Oh, you did this?
Yeah, that's Rick Petco's bike. Yep. He actually liked it so much he did a tattoo on his back to match the bike.
Yeah. Wow. I'd say you've been there, done that just a little bit, huh?
About 43 years of sewing, yeah.
So is that what it'd be called? Like you're like a professional sewer?
Well, leather artist.
Leather artist.
I just take it to the extremes with the exotic part.
Yeah.
That's a cool trike we made years ago. That was a 10-foot alligator. I didn't think I could sew it, but we had to thin it up. We made a 10-foot alligator into the seat.
Wow. Just like, and then this is your dad's number?
Yeah, that was my dad. This is my dad after he won that Laconia, New Hampshire. So that would be my dad, Larry Martin. And then Bob's Harley from Bob's Harley. And this is Roger Reamer, the head of Harley Davidson Racing. That'd be 1962. Wow. This is my dad doing his flat track. No front brake, and they're going 100 miles an hour, handlebar to handlebar.
Yeah.
That's how the old guys used to race.
Yeah.
And then he had steel front shoe, on his front boot.
Belly
Now this seat is really cool. This seat is about 12 years old. So when you use the real exotics, the leather never turns colors or nothing because I got the really high quality leather, but sometimes the exotics they call pantining. This was a darker brown when it started out, but this was now it's almost 12 years old. It's got a cool pantene to it. So it's got a combination brown. And people say, Bob, can you do this from day one? I said, well, this is all how much you're in the sun, how much you ride it. It's not falling apart or anything. It just changes the color. Whatever leather seat you buy, even your car seats, it's called pantining when it gets a little wrinkle, a little aging. But what the exotics do is they get a little bit different color down the road.
Okay.
And it just depends on how much you take care of it.
So just to be clear, this is actual belly of the alligator?
This is a real belly, the alligator, real ostrich, and the same thing with the kangaroo lacing, but this is a brown kangaroo lacing. But this is over 12 years old.
Wow.
Customer sold the bike and he didn't want to give up the seat, so now I'll re-sell it to somebody else. It's like a whole new job now.
Yeah. And what's that for?
That actually fits a Street Glide.
Street Glide.
Yeah,
like
214 Street Glide, 2009 and up.
Okay.
And there's a matching backrest.
Okay. Well, there you guys go.
These are some of the magazines that we're in and some of the shots we've done. This was a cool book. We're in Extreme Motorcycle Art. There's like 50 bike builders from around the world that are in this coffee table book. And I was the only leather guy they accepted. And they gave me like 4 pages, which I thought was really cool, and I went around the world.
Yeah.
This bike was in the Harley Museum for 6 months. That was really cool. That's a cognac belly, or a cognac hornback alligator. That's the bike right there.
This one?
Yeah. I've actually had 4 bikes in the Harley Museum for over 6 months. I have one in there now, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You know, when I got here, I was telling Bob, like, back in the day when I was doing the podcast a lot. We interviewed him, we kind of talked, and he was nice enough to always kind of jump in on every good cause and gave away pro pads and kind of, you know, was always about raising money and kind of helping community. All of us motorcyclists, we're usually good at helping community, raising stuff, and he was one of them. He always said yes. When we called and said, hey, can you put in for this event, he always said yes. So on behalf of that, I'll say thank you in person. But what I didn't know is that he had such a bitchin' shop. And so I came here and I was like, well, first of all, I thought he was way closer to Chicago. I'm like 6 hours away from him. So might have to be here more often. But yeah, that's it, I think. I think that's it.
Yeah, it's just one-off stuff that nobody else does, and
so
done the right way.
And so he always does it. Trust him, he does it the right way. Somebody comes in, you're open to ideas. You guys talk about things. I know I've gotten to see your seats on Jason's bike, Amanda Bramble's bike, Amanda's
both got
bike,
new ones now too.
And they both got new ones, and I've seen theirs. So it's really cool to see it in person. By the way, the back-horned alligator looks like it would be uncomfortable, but when I sat on Jason's, I did not think that was the case.
Yeah,
I thought it was comfortable.
It's how you design it. The big bumps from the head are in the front of the seat. You don't sit on the big humps. It just looks cool.
Yeah, okay. All right, guys. Well, until next time, I'm going to end this like I always do. I'll put all your contact information below. They can email you.
The Facebook is good to check out what I do. That gives you an idea. If you look up Alligator Bob's custom motorcycle seats on Facebook, it'll give you an idea of what I can do. It's like a huge web page.
Yeah.
You push in photos and there's thousands of pictures in there. It'll give you an idea of what I've done. It's all one of a kind, but now you can see what you like, and then we can put 3 or 4 seats together and do what you want to do. So if you're a tall guy, a short guy, fat guy, skinny guy, whatever you need for the seat, we'll help you fit it. And I've been doing this for a long time, so I can make it fit you.
And yeah, that's it. I think we've said it all.
That's pretty much it.
All right, so until next time, ride hard, ride fast, and say hi to somebody you don't know. Peace.